Welcome back. Thanks for bearing with us while we move all the footage around and do what the clever folks in the tech box have to do. I don't know what any of it means. I just sit here and look pretty.
Yes, but they're doing an amazing job.
They
So
sure are.
amazing team.
They keep showing us awesome games, and we love to watch them and love to talk about them. I love to chat with you folks here as well. Hope you're enjoying the coverage. We're going into another top 8 match from a different bracket. We're going to be looking at an Amber Steel deck versus a Sapphire Steel deck. So a matchup that we haven't come across this weekend. So it's going to be interesting to see how that goes. Battle of the Steels again.
Battle of the Steels. Yes. So let's jump in. Our players here are Ryan and Zan. They're going to be facing off for this chance to go into the semifinals. Of course, at being part of the top 8, as we mentioned, these players have earned not only an invite to the nationals, but also have earned that beautiful gold Mickey card. So congrats again to these guys for making it this far.
Absolutely beautiful stuff. So very much looking forward to seeing how this goes. These two players are very well known in the community. Absolutely fantastic players, fan favorites for sure. So this is going to be a bittersweet because obviously you want to see the Lorcana community players do well, but obviously there is only going to be one winner here, so it's going to be hopefully well thought out. And we're straight in. We're diving in. We've got Captain Hook down from Ryan. We have the Cinderella Singer there from Zan. Two great decks here. Amber Steel Songs has just been, since the very beginning, one of the most exciting decks in the format. And then Sapphire Steel also just really pulling its weight as well.
How do you think the players are feeling about this matchup between Sapphire Steel and Amber Steel?
This is an interesting one because in some ways they're both trying to do very similar sort of things. They're just going to be gaining value from having stuff stick on the board whilst their actions deal with the opponents. So Amber Steel is all about getting those singers down early in Amber and then moving into the Steel Songs. Sapphire Steel is more about sort of taking control of the earlier game so that you can come out with the big hitters later on, and then probably finishing off with the Sapphire package of Tamatoa and Lucky Dime. We see a Fishbone Quill here, which is going to mean some ramp is beginning from Ryan. We have a Smee down with the Captain Hook, just absolute fantastic quester here. We may well see a Smee trade here from Zan. Sometimes you just need to get theirs off the board if yours isn't going to be as strong, but hopefully Cinderella gets to sing something impressive at this point.
Yes. Yeah. Do you think he's going to make that trade, or do you think he's going to want to get on the board here?
It's a tough call. I'm not sure about this one because at the moment, even though they're the same card, Ryan's Smee is in a much better position than Zan's because of just because of that hook there, to the point where you can even see that the hook was left ready there because his role now is to keep that Smee safe and to keep the damage up there. The other thing is as well is that the 2 damage Steel wouldn't be able to finish him off because of the hook there as well. We've seen Aerial Sensational Singer, absolute poster child of the deck, does exactly what the deck wants to do. Body comes down, looks at 4 cards, is able to take a song from them and put it into your hand. And not only that, she's a 3-cost Singer 5 as well, so she's able to sing up into some of those bigger Steel cards, such as Grab Your Swords and A Whole New World. That's most likely what Zan's going to be looking to do here at some point, is to refuel his hand with the Whole New World being sang by something like the Singer.
Yeah, he does have 4 of those in his deck, Whole New World, so I'm sure we'll see it soon. I haven't seen his hand, so I'm not sure. What did he pull? World's Greatest Criminal Mind there?
I think so. Which is going to be might have been the only one that was there, but also later on against some of the bigger Steel problems might be a solid answer there. I think it hits quite a few big things. It hits Tamatoa. If we're seeing Ryan play the Simba that started to see a little bit of play in this deck, the Steel 5/7 Simba that started to creep into the meta a little bit later in the day, that one is also a great target for World's Great Criminal Mind as well. Although it doesn't really matter because we Whole New Worlded, so it's already gone.
Yes, and it looks like Zan got rid of the Whole New World from Ryan's hand because he played that Bare Necessities. Yep. So I'm sure Ryan was sad to see that go, and Zan's now passed the turnover.
But we did have that Smee trade that I thought might happen. Yeah, I think that's a good call there because, like I say, same card, but on Ryan's board, just going to be doing a lot more work.
Yeah, and he did use Cinderella to sing bare necessities. That leaves her open up to that Captain Hook for a challenge. But Cinderella, I think that's okay. Yeah, she got the value there. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think so. At this point, probably takes it.
Yeah.
You already have a better singer on the board now with Ariel, and she's relatively safe this turn. So yeah, I think that was a good play. And then also from Ryan here, we see the tragic hero Beast, just absolute fantastic card here on 5. Just going to be refueling that hand back up, especially now we lost the whole new world. It's a great answer to that, and just being able to keep cards in your hand.
Yeah, and it looks like Ryan might be empty-handed right now. Did he play everything?
I think maybe so, yeah. So,
Yeah.
and that's another play. Knowing that your opponent is most likely looking to whole new world themselves as well, getting as much value as possible out of that
Mm,
happening is pretty good. And we just get an absolute ball wipe here.
wow.
Along came Zeus, taking out Tragic Beast, and then Ariel challenging something you don't see her do very
Not
often. But
often.
while that Captain Hook is sat there with 1 health remaining, it's definitely the right play. I think. Yeah, it was a really good
Yeah.
turn.
I do typically see Ariel as she's your singer, and so to see her challenge into something like that is really, but he cleared his board and puts him in a really good spot, especially with that playing that Along Came Zeus to get rid of Beast. That was a really, really nice play there.
I think the big thing here is that Zan's going to be looking at Ryan's hand. It was just 1 card that he didn't play. The whole new world
Ah,
is not going to get as much of a tilt as you would like it to. Instead, we see a Benja, absolutely the answer to items in the current meta. Benja, just a fantastic body that comes down and just banishes an item from your opponent. Just does a lot of work. Pretty much the only consistent item removal you see in the game, honestly. As much as items are a problem, he's really the only one that consistently finds a slot. That you do see Judy Hopps come along in Sapphire sometimes, but yeah, just a really solid card.
yeah. And with Ryan on Sapphire and really wanting to ramp up to some of these bigger cards, how do you think he's feeling with that
Yeah,
Fishbone Quill being taken out?
yeah. So we see Ryan sing the whole new
Whole
world
new
there.
world.
Just at some point, one of them's got to do it,
Yep. Yep.
and just going to be really, yeah,
A
fueling back
whole
up again.
new world. I'll sing
Oh,
it. I'll
beautiful.
sing it. I can't resist.
So
I,
we
I-
with a big
yeah,
tink
that's
ink there. Sorry, just trying to see what the
yeah,
ink was.
the big T yeah, the big tink was ink. Ink ink the tink.
Exactly. So back over to Zan now. Obviously, the better board state and a full hand of cards, and 5 ink most likely will be 6. So yeah, Ryan had to refuel there with the whole new world, but it kind of felt great with Zan both ahead on board and just now tempo. We've been able to play things down. We see a Robin
Oh,
Hood come
Robin
down.
Hood. Yeah, that's really nice. I mean, he really is at an advantage here with having 3 characters on the board now, and Ryan, I'm sure, is feeling like he's got to get something down there to deal with what Zan's been able to put out.
Yeah, just like you say, just Zan having the precision, just every time getting rid of the stuff needed to, and have the deck. There's a lot of different ways to ramp in Sapphire, but I feel like this deck is running quite a few less of them, and really just focuses on that fishbone. So getting rid of that
Mm,
fishbone when he did was just like real precision play. We see a fishbone come down and maybe go into
that's
ink.
ink. Yeah.
So at this point, we're at 7. You're able to play a lot of the bigger stuff you want. And there's that Simba I mentioned before.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a 7-costed inkable 5/7 Dreamborn Hero Prince, and he has the ability that when he comes into play, and then also when he challenges, you actually get to choose. He's a modal card, so he doesn't see play that often. You can tell because Zan's having to have a read of it, but I have noticed it come up in meta decks more recently. When he comes into play or when he challenges, you can either draw 2, discard 2, which is basically ransack but on a body, the card ransack, and then also,
Mm.
or you can deal 2 damage to a chosen character, which oftentimes is usually the one you go for. It's basically a free fire the cannons. It's actually pretty strong, but sometimes just that digging through the deck for the answers is enough. But yeah, really interesting 7 drop here, really interesting play, just a good body that, again, modal cards very often see play because having that options of different things you can do is really quite strong.
Yeah, and we see a Cinderella come down on Zan's side, which we've seen from other players, and we know how strong that Cinderella can be, and especially with that Simba there, having that resist on such a large, will-powered character is going to be really, really nice.
Yeah, I'd sit there and say how good I think that 7-drop Simba is, and then Zan plays the
7-drop
7-drop
Cindy
Cinderella and
right
absolutely
behind.
laughs in my coverage there, because yeah, she is absolutely fantastic. 5/5 quest for 3, has resist 2, so doesn't even take that 2 off of Simba. And also, which will come up obviously with this being a Steel Song deck, she's able to challenge able to challenge ready characters when a song has been played. So yeah, even if we don't turn that Simba sideways here, if Zan's able to sing a song, she'll be able to relatively cleanly take him out. The 7 damage being enough to do him, and then we'll only take 3 on the crackback because of that resist.
Yeah. Now you just now saw Zan looking through Ryan's discard, which of course the discard is public knowledge, so players can do that at any time. What do you think Zan is looking for?
Really just seeing how many of the things that we assume to be play sets in the deck have come through. So it's going to be things like how much of the Along Came Zeus's have I seen? How many of the Whole New Worlds have I seen? How many, just things like that, really. Just trying to think about how many answers are coming, what can I expect to come? That damage on Cinderella shouldn't happen there because of the resist one. Hopefully they'll catch that. This is worth pointing out at this point that these games are recorded, so even if we do spot a slip like that, unfortunately there is not much we can do about it. But yeah, the resist there triggers for all damage coming in, whether it's from challenge or from abilities like that. So yeah, Cinderella doesn't have a damage on her there, unfortunately. Hopefully it's something they'll pick up on.
Yeah, Cinderella has resist 2, which is, I think resist is one of the strongest abilities in Lorcana, because it's each time damage is done.
There
they just caught it. Yep, they just caught it.
There's no way neither of them wouldn't. It just takes a moment to look at the board state and figure it out. So.
Yeah, there's so much going on in these players' heads right now. I can't even imagine. But yeah, that resist is resist 2 on this 5/5 character that Cinderella is just so strong.
I think what Zan would like to see here is a song, so that Cinderella can start challenging into the ready characters, I think.
Yeah. Doesn't look like he has a song in hand. I see a Robin Hood, and I got just a quick glimpse. But yeah, a song would be really great.
I think those, if they're 5-drop on Inkables, they must be songs. So they're either Whole New Worlds or Grab Your Swords. I could just see the ink cost, so I'm not quite sure.
There's a Whole New World. I think I also spied Sleepy's Flute. He has a couple of Whole New Worlds, it looks like. So I wonder if he's thinking if he wants to refill his hand here.
It's multiple Whole New Worlds in the hand is never good, because by playing one of them, you're getting rid of another one of them. So yeah,
he has Along Came Zeus. That's a nice card.
Yeah. So Along Came Zeus is going to target the.
Simba?
I think he can take out. Oh no, can't take out the Simba on its own. Simba is a 5/7. So I think we might see here. I was going to put the damage on it. Yeah.
And then challenge.
And then Cinderella is going to go into the Tinkerbell, which she can do. She can hit a ready card because of the the playing of the song there. Yeah.
Yeah. Which I again, with the thematic, that they've done with all these characters and their abilities. Cinderella, some of her other characters that you see in the game is a singer. I think there's a 2-drop that's a singer 4, so, and then the Ballroom Sensation, the 1 singer 3. And then here we have this big Cinderella that comes in, and when you play a song, she can challenge ready characters. I just kind of love how they tie that together from one card to another card with the same character.
Absolutely. I'm wondering a little there why those 2 cards didn't go the other way around, and the Along Came Zeus could have taken out the Tinkerbell, and then Cinderella could have finished the Simba in a challenge. But I'm sure Zan's got his reasons.
I wonder if it's just because he sees Tink as more of a threat, because Tink, when she challenges, that she can put that additional damage on another character, and so he wanted to clear her off the board because of that.
Yeah, they both would have done though that way, because the Along Came Zeus deals 5 damage, which is enough for Tinkerbell. and then the Cinderella being a 7/7 could have gone into Simba. So we see Cogsworth come down here. I think he's our first one of those that we've seen today. I think a couple of the games on the floor saw this one, but it's definitely our first time commentating about him. He's a 5-costed Inkable 2/5 with 2 lore. He can be shifted, although he doesn't really see the shift target any play. He has ward and also gives other characters that you control resist 1. So real solid body that is very difficult to remove, very difficult to answer. He does quest for 2, but most likely will just sort of sit there and provide the resist. And then Simba is able to finish off the Cinderella there, and then with the 2 other damage, take out the other character.
The Benja. Yeah. Yep. Zan still has that Robin Hood on board, though. So, he lost Cinderella, but I think he's feeling okay, right? How do you think he's feeling right now with this board state?
It's really just a back and forth at this point. They're both doing exactly what they need to do. They're answering cards when they need to. They're extending their board when they can. They're grabbing little bits of lore here and there. These decks, like I say, although they have very different ways of getting there, they kind of want to do the same sort of thing, which is control the early game and then drop some larger threats later on. And when you're up against a deck that also wants to do that, you can find that you just sort of end up butting heads all the way through the game, and you end up getting these very sort of slow incremental wins. The Sleepy's Flute is definitely going to help Zan there. We also see a whole new world. So at the end of the day, he's losing 1, but I do think that's a good play there just to refuel as you move further into the end game.
Yeah, and I did see that Ryan had a lucky dime and a whole new world himself that he had to discard there when Zan played Whole New World. Of course, he has more lucky dimes waiting, but I'm sure Zan's glad to see at least one of them go. And he did draw a whole new world over in Zan's hand. You can see Strength of Raging Fire, Bare Necessities is in there. I saw Rapunzel as well.
So a lot of answers then. We can definitely, over the other side, we have another dime.
Another
Popsicle,
dime.
Another long came Zeus. I thought we were.
Yeah, it looks like it.
We'd seen all of those there, perhaps. Oh no, sorry. Last game we saw all of them. Excuse me. They're all starting to blend into one.
Yes.
We see a Bare Necessities, which is great for us. We get to see a better version, better look at the deck. So we have the Beast, Hot-Headed. We have Tragic Hero and Smee, and then on the other side we have the stuff you can actually take. Along came Zeus, a Popsicle, a Lucky Dime. And a Baboom, I think that last one is there. Yeah. So Hard-Headed is an interesting one. He's basically a slightly bigger Benja. He's a 5-costed 4/4 with 2 lore, and will banish an item when it comes out. So most likely we'll want to see that come down to get rid of that flute, I feel. I suppose the bonus here is, yes, it's a turn or 2 later than the Benja, but it is a possible well, no, I don't think you wouldn't play it as a shift target for hit Tragic Hero. No, it's just a personal preference. Sometimes I know a few people just prefer the hard-headed beast over Benja. I personally prefer the Benja just for Fishbone Quill, if nothing else. It gets rid of that Fishbone Quill before it's done too much damage. So.
Yeah, it looks like Ryan is only running 2 of those Beast Hard-Headed and doesn't have any Benjas in his list, but we do see the Benja over on Zan's side. We've obviously seen 1 or maybe even 2, and that's all he has in his deck is just those 2.
All right, so Cogsworth not doing much on his own here, giving other stuff resists, but when there's no other stuff, he'll just sit there and just make your board a little stronger. So hopefully for Ryan, he'll be able to get some more bodies down. And we'll probably see a Popsicle play here just to have a little bit more information. Always, if you're able to draw cards, always do them as early as you can into the turn, because the more cards in your hand, the more information you've got, the more answers you have. Always try and draw before anything else for the most part. There's a couple of times where you wouldn't want to, but for the most part, you want to be looking at cards before you decide what to do.
Yeah, no, that totally makes sense. Yeah, you want as many options as you have to make the best decisions that you can with what's going on is the best thing to do. And it looks like he did bring that hard-headed
beast.
I was going to say hard-headed beast down to take care of Sleepy's flute.
Yeah.
He is probably a little bit of a hothead. That beast.
We see a lot of resources going into the Benja here, both Cogsworth and a Baboom and a Popsicle to heal the Cogsworth back up again. So, really didn't want that Benja to stick around.
Yeah.
At this point, though, Zan is 11 lore. Sorry, so that quest for 2 on Benja is a little bit more threatening than we perhaps think.
Yeah, it does look. I thought I saw a Hiram Flowersham in Ryan's hand, which of course he needs some items out there to banish in order to get the card draw. But he used that popsicle to heal Cogsworth. What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, it's not something you see very often, to be honest with you. Popsicle, for the most part, comes out on one, replaces itself, and then gets chewed up by Hiram. Pretty much the optimal line there for Popsicle. But sometimes you do forget that it does have a second ability where you can banish it to its own ability to heal two, which we're seeing Zan do here with a Rapunzel healing up the Robin Hood and refueling his
Yes.
hand. Rapunzel allows you to heal up to 3 damage from a character, and then for each damage that you heal, you get to draw a card. Really fantastic card. Seen consistent play through since set 1. Not as much now, but definitely still one of the strongest Amber cards, I feel.
No, absolutely. And looks like Zan has a few different songs that he could play here if he wanted to. Oh,
Ryan's taking a look through Zan's discard again, just sort of looking for tallies of playsets. What's gone?
yeah, I feel like at these, when you have these longer matches that go back and forth, that knowing, like how many whole new worlds and Long Came Zeus, like you said, knowing how many have been played is really just going to help you make the best decisions possible, knowing what might still be coming.
Yeah. So we see Rapunzel and Robin Hood and a second Robin Hood there. Kind of a aggressive board from Zan. Ryan with the Beast and the Cogsworth. Definitely wanting to be trying to quest and sort of close that lore gap. He's got a lot of ink, got a lot of cards in hand. Both players, a lot of ink and a lot of cards in hand. So really wanting to be sort of Ryan's going to be wanting to close out the gap here. We see a big Tamatoa come
Oh,
down.
Tamatoa.
He's able to go and grab an item back and then replay it with that last ink. So that goes sorry, let me just get my words together. I'm getting all excited. Explains a little bit why the Popsicle got popped to heal up the Cogsworth there, because he knew full well that Tamatoa was going to be able to get it back. And it looks like that's what we'll see again next turn. Tamatoa not only brings an item back from the discard on play, also does it on quest as well. We see a tragic hero go into the Inkwell too.
Now, interesting here with Ryan's deck is he actually only runs one copy of Tamatoa in his deck. So it really is that kind of silver bullet, I suppose, coming into play here. And he happened to get it in this game. And I think it's going to do him some good.
Yes, I think so. Yeah, so it's not necessarily the big closeout. I think the big closeouts here are just the bigger steel characters being able to comfortably quest, which we're seeing here with Cogsworth and the Beast went into the Robin Hood. So, but yeah, Tamatoa on the board. If we can get an item or two to stick, it's going to be a tricky problem for Zan to deal with. I know we talked about World's Greatest Criminal Mind before. Was that because it was in discard, or I'm assuming it's been wheeled away by now with the whole new world?
Yeah, it's in his discard. He did he got that when he played his Aero Spectacular Singer earlier in the game, but because of that whole new world, it went into his discard. But that would definitely come in handy right now. He doesn't have a good answer for Tamatoa. Tamatoa has 8 willpower. So he's
huge guy.
Yeah, he's gonna need a couple things to take care of that crab.
Let the Storm Rage on, finishes off Beast there. Now Cogsworth is removed. Beast no longer has the 1 resist. We see another Flute come down and just start to, and then Rapunzel questing as well. Definitely closing this game out now. Tamatoa is an amazing card, but without much else on the board, he's only questing for 1. I feel like we really need to see Ryan pull out a couple of characters to sort of contest the board and an item or two so that Tamatoa gets turned on. We see a Queen come down as well, which is going to make Robin Hood's trades a lot better. Oh, the lore is updated at that point. Sorry, I thought we were a little bit further away. So at this point, I think it's probably game 2. Ryan needs to really pull out an answer here. But obviously, no time limit. Well worth taking a moment just to think about all of your different outs, think about all of your different options, playing for it to see what happens. Tamatoa is going to bring back a Popsicle. I imagine that Popsicle will get played to draw a card. Again, just seeing as much information as you can. But at this point, I think it's probably game 1 to Zan. 4 puts down a Hiram. which pops the popsicle, gets to see 2 more. So all of these, digging for answers, but all of these plays cost ink as well. So the more
I
you
think
go,
he knows.
yeah,
Yep.
there you go. The more you go, the less you're going to do with the leftover ink that you've got. Did exactly what you should do at this point in the competition, when it really comes down to the single wins mattering and there being no time limit. See as much as you can. Look for your outs. Just play to the best of your abilities. So really great game 1. 2 incredible players. I absolutely can't wait to see more from them. I'd be really interested to see how this all plays out.
This matchup has been really interesting with both players on steel, but each player navigating those lines and figuring out the best plays. Zan comes out with the win on game 1, but it's still anybody's game. So I know Ryan is a really skilled player, so I'm excited to see how this next game is going to play out.
Absolutely. Let's dive in.
Now, what do you think with the first hand being altered here, knowing what's coming? What are they looking for in that opening hand?
So I imagine Ryan's going to be wanting to get rid of Zan's early singers. So Ryan's going to be looking for removal for Cinderella. And then maybe a little bit later, Ariel. Also, some of the Floodborn targets of Robin Hood and Queen. So I think that's pretty solid there. Zan, to some extent, the similar kind of thing, but also going to be looking for that item removal to shut down the Fishbone on turn 3. I do see a Benja in hand, and a Robin Hood here, so we'll see whether Ryan has an answer to it. And then, Zan's going to definitely be looking to get rid of that Fishbone Quill as soon as he can.
Yeah, Zan does have a whole new world there waiting, so I'm sure that's going to be coming. And if he can draw an Ariel Spectacular Singer soon, that'll be real nice for him.
We see Mr. Smee come down from Ryan. Got a good bit of value out of him in game 1, but didn't really stick around much. Zan, as playing Steel Song, absolutely you want to be getting Whole New Worlds played as quick as you can, whether that's through the Aerial Singer or your shifted 5-drops singing it. So pretty much all of the shift targets in the deck of the Robin Hood Champion of Sherwood, the Queen Commanding Presence, all can sing it and really get the card draw started. And you're fueling both of your hands, but you're doing it because you want to do it. They're doing it because you're making them.
Yes. Now, interesting here, we didn't see Ryan quest with Smee, and he did put down those captain hooks, so Smee would not have taken damage since there was a captain in play. What do you think he was thinking there?
He just has to respect that Robin Hood. Just has to know that the Champion of Sherwood come down. It doesn't look like it's in Zan's hand, but again, I'll say this: you always have to play as if your opponent has the exact answer. You always have to play. Occasionally, you can throw enough on the board down and be like, you be prepared or you haven't. But you always have to kind of respect what those smaller characters that look very unassuming. There it is.
There's that shift.
I didn't think it was in the hand, but it was.
He just drew it. Yeah, he actually only has that Benja and Rapunzel in hand as far as characters go, and then some songs. But on his turn, he drew that Robin Hood, which I'm sure he was real happy to see.
Yeah, absolutely right play from Ryan there to keep the Smee up. So right now he's in a good position. He can take a turn off and sort of really just build that board state out.
Yeah, and I can't see what else Ryan has in his hand, but he doesn't have a lot of bigger bodies besides, Smee is that 3/3, but I'm sure he's sitting at 4 ink that he's looking for some of the bigger characters to be able to play soon.
Yeah, a Hiram would be really good here, I think. Get that popsicle popped and start refueling your hand at this point. We see a Whole New World, Cogsworth, and I think a Long-Flame Zeus.
And talk about the strategy here with Whole New World, because it does seem sometimes like you're giving your opponent an advantage by giving them new cards, which we do see him playing there with using Robin Hood to sing a Whole New World.
Yeah, there is definitely a risk versus reward with Whole New World. You like you said, you're fueling your hand back up again, but you're letting your opponent do the same. And usually, more often than not, your Whole New World is then passed to an opponent with ink ready. So you're definitely giving them a little bit of advantage there. But the reason you want to do it is your whole deck is built around going through and finding those key pieces earlier, and there's having that sort of tempo shift of doing it on your terms. The Whole New World is being played when you want to play it. We'll see here that the Rapunzel came down with nothing to heal, just to get that body on the board, get her out of the hand before the Whole New World comes down. Ryan didn't have that that opportunity, right? Was just got rid of the cards that was in his hand. Cogsworth probably would have been a nice play for him here. He now doesn't have it. He also gets rid of his whole his own whole new world.
Yes.
But in doing so, Zan is also giving Ryan a full hand of cards to play with. So yeah, it's definitely a risk versus reward strategy.
Yeah. Well, and like you said, with being able to control, you have the decide. You decide when it happens instead of having it happen to you. You're deciding when you get that new hand. So we see a Mickey come down to build that inkwell.
Yeah, Mickey lets you put a Detective Mickey, that is, sorry, lets you put a card into the inkwell exerted when he comes down. So it's ramp, not the quickest ramp in the game, but definitely still a perfectly sensible way to ramp cards up. We see a Baboom getting it, and then we see the double Captain Hook going into the Robin Hood there. Really great play. I think definitely worth holding them back for that. Even holding the Smee back before as well, so that the Robin Hood couldn't go in and get healed by the Rapunzel. Just really, really great plays from both of them here. They seem to know exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, that Mickey Mouse detective has been around since set 1. Is that a card that we see it now in Ryan's deck? Do we see it often in Sapphire decks, that Mickey Mouse card?
There's definitely still a spot for it. I feel like personally it's been a little bit outpaced by things like Fishbone Quill. But there's still something to be said about a body coming down and providing ramp and then sticking around as well. We see another Smee come down here. That's interesting.
We're going to sing Let the Storm Rage On with Rapunzel. And of course, he gets to draw off of that as well. I love any song or action that you can play where you can replace it by drawing a card. It's really nice.
Absolutely, yeah. We're just going to ton of value off the songs here, replacing themselves. The flute is online now at this point as well. So,
yeah, this is really, really. These two decks are very evenly matched. Two very skilled players, both of them sitting now at just 2 lore, and I feel like it's going to just be a lot of back and forth again, like we saw last game. Very close.
Absolutely, just going to be edging out board presence when they can, edging out lore game when they can. Just doing exactly what they need to do. Very, very exciting stuff, especially with like you said, two real sort of pro players, really, both fantastic players and great personalities as well, both really sort of appreciated in the community. So really great to see them here sort of thrashing it out.
Yeah, I do spy a Cinderella Stout-Hearted over in Zan's hand. We're a couple turns away because that costs 7 to bring her down, and he only has 5 in his inkwell. But if we don't see another whole new world before we get there, I'm sure he will be playing that.
Absolutely, yeah.
We're going to do 3 damage over there on Rapunzel, it looks like, with the Smee. Now, if he had another Rapunzel who could come and heal it, boom.
I was just about to say, there's no way Ryan leaves something half healed on Zan's board at this point. I was going to suggest it was a Baboon, but instead it was a Fire the Cannons, again, just to finish her off there. I think that's an absolutely fair play at that point to get her off the board, but never leave something damaged onto a Steel Song player's board.
Fire the Cannons, I haven't seen a lot of that today, but that's just a 1-cost uninkable action to deal 2 damage to chosen character. Just a simple, you can play it at any point in the game. It's a real fun card.
Yeah, a lot of players are running Baboom over it now, which is a 2 cost, but it is inkable and it does 2 damage to a character or location. So sometimes it's the extra you need to finish off the castle. But yeah, there's something to be said about just a 1-drop that deals 2.
Yes.
Just as the baseline for what this game allows you to do.
Yeah, so Ryan has 1 of each in his deck, and that's it. So 1 Fire the Cannons, 1 Baboom, and he happened to have that Fire the Cannons at just the right moment here.
Yeah, exactly. They're basically in there to help a trade like that happen. I'm pretty sure they're just there to just finish off something that something else is sort of trading up into, which is what we saw with the Smee there. We're going to have Robin Hood sing. Then along came Zeus to take out the Beast, a great target for that. We don't want to see Ryan drawing cards if we're Zan.
He does have another Sleepy's Flute there. Is that something you think he wants to get on the board for that additional lore gain?
Yeah, I mean, always, flutes are just going to help you close out the game. But obviously at this point as well, you're also going to be looking for board presence. Ryan hasn't got much going on here with the Smee that's got 2 damage on him and the Mickey Mouse. So you might be able to take a turn off here to get the flute down, which is what Zan does. And he still has 3 ink to play with, so most likely can still get something like a Smee down. I see a couple of them there. We ink a Robin Hood, which
Mm.
gives us 4. So we might just see, yeah, there we go. We see double Smee, which is
Yep.
kind of awesome.
That is kind of awesome.
Yeah, that's a really solid turn. So two flutes, turning sideways there. I think the law might be a little off. I think we're a little higher for Zan.
So the Robin Hood went into the champion, the big Robin Hood went into his inkwell. Of course, Robin Hood only quests for 2, and so he's put down 2 Smees that both quest for 2. So feeling like that was a good decision there. Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The board
Mhm.
presence from the
Yep.
Smees is kind of huge, and just knowing that Ryan's removal package is very similar to his own, knows that more bodies just mean that those single target steel removals are just going to be doing less. We just see a giant tink come down there, doing 1 to all of them, which is going to speed up Smee's demise if we don't see a captain, which I don't think we will in Amber Steel for Zan's deck. It doesn't play the 1-drop captain hook. I do know that that some players play Piglet, the Amber captain, the
Yes. Yes.
which I think is quite a good pairing with Mr. Smee. Mr. Smee doesn't mind where his captains come from. He just needs one
Exactly. He just
to
needs a
function. So
captain.
he's happy to get in line behind
Yes.
behind Piglet.
Yes, yes. Smee is a follower, not a leader.
Yeah,
So any
absolutely.
captain will do. So Ryan does have looks like a Hiram in hand, which I would expect to come down soon, especially with all those popsicles over there, and to
Yeah.
get some more cards in hand. And
Yeah,
he is
definitely.
questing with Smee.
Definitely want to be refueling at some point, but I do think the big team was the good play there, just to start to put the pressure on against these Robin Hoods. Robin Hoods wants to trade. That 1 damage might be enough to make Zan have to rethink it. Those Smees are going to be taking damage at the end of turn if they quest, so the 1 damage there is just speeding up how long they're going to be on the board for. So yeah, I think the big team was a really great line there for Ryan.
Yeah. Big Tink is so fun, and her art is amazing. She's came out in set 1 in the first chapter and has been like a fan favorite, I think, ever since she made her appearance. So much so that the playmat for this newest set, Ursula's Return, features the art from that card, and it's beautiful.
I remember when I first saw that card revealed, it kind of made me really sit up and notice Lorcana. I'd obviously been covering it
Ah,
since it was very first announced, just as a big Disney fan and a big card game player. But Giant Fairy was the one that made me sit up and be like, oh wow, not only is the art incredible and really something that we hadn't seen before, I don't feel, just the abilities on her, the amount that she does, the stats on her, when obviously, been caught up now with lots of other really great cards, but at the time, she really sort of blew the box open as to what was possible with Lorcana. So I have very fond memories of Giant Tink being revealed. Yeah.
yes. Yeah, she's definitely a favorite. She's so fun. And the alternate art on the Enchanted is also super fun.
Yeah.
All the art in this game is amazing. And I think for folks out there who are huge Disney fans, and we see Ariel digging for some cards, and he does find a whole new world there for Zan. I think the art catches a lot of attention of Disney fans because it's characters that we know and love and being drawn in these new wonderful ways. And it also helps remember the characters more for me,
Yeah.
because they're characters I'm familiar with. So I remember Giant Tink and Robin Hood and Mickey Mouse.
Absolutely. We see Robin Hood going into Mickey Mouse Detective there, like really sort of, I don't say obvious, but like very clean line there. Mickey Mouse
Sure.
is not putting up much of a threat for Robin Hood there, just takes 1 damage on the challenge there. We see a Rapunzel come down, instantly healing it and drawing some.
And we are trading into that. That's me. Smart there.
Yeah, and then just real great turn from Zan there. Just absolute board control, doing everything he needed to do. Drew cards, cleared the board up a little bit, developed his own lore as well. Yeah, just real great play there.
Yeah, and he is questing for 2 with that last Smee, who does take 1 additional damage because there's no captain in play. And I think we're going over now to Ryan. So it does feel like Ryan needs to find some answers here. He's got a Hiram, Flaversham, and is it a Lucky Dime? And he just drew something else. But What do you think he's hoping to do? Get some
Yeah, I
board
think.
presence back?
Yeah, definitely looking for answers with the Hiram here
Mm.
is definitely the play. Just sort of getting some card advantage in your hand. The Mickey there, I don't think is going to be doing much. The Fishbone Quill isn't really going to be doing much at this point in the game. You know, we're getting up to the levels, to the point where we're actually inking it there. You see, because we're getting up to the ink levels that they kind of want to be happy with. Cogsworth is actually pretty solid here. Tinkerbell is very happy trading with stuff that Cogsworth is going to help her do that. I think we probably see. Do we see Tink maybe go into?
Do you think Robin Hood? Yeah, so Robin Hood is 6 willpower.
There's no damage on Robin Hood, so it's not quite enough, unfortunately.
Not quite enough.
Yeah, so and the 2 damage that she does have to go
to a different character.
Yeah, well, it only happens on banish, so she can't challenge into Robin Hood and then use the 2 to finish him off. Unfortunately, she can go into Smee and put 2 onto Robin to start that process. But yeah, it's a difficult line at the moment. There's not really a great target for her.
And he's thinking about it. Yes. He is going to go with the Smee.
And then putting the 2 on the Robin Hood. That means, next turn, now Robin Hood going into Tinkerbell is pretty good. We pop the Popsicle to heal her up as well. So now she's at full health, and there's a Cogsworth out giving her resist 1. Yeah, it's a good choice, I think. That's probably what I'd have gone for as well.
Yeah. It amazes me, these players, playing at this level and just what they can see and thinking ahead, a couple turns and seeing all these lines of play and knowing what's coming and how they're able to just, make things switch so quickly. It looks like they're in trouble and then they just do something amazing.
Yeah. To see, I mean, both players here really, really playing their hearts out, and with kind of clunky hands at this point as well. We're seeing a lot of like double whole new worlds in hands.
Mm-hmm.
With Ryan there with the ramp that he wanted to see much earlier in the game. Now it's
Cinderella now coming down. There she is.
Stout-hearted, absolutely huge. She is a 7 cost. But wow, she's going to be starting to do a lot now. 5/5 again with resist 2, quest for 3, and can challenge ready characters. So we have a dime and a Mickey on Ryan's side. I mean, the dime,
not what he wants.
No, it doesn't have a great target. Tinkerbell or Cogsworth both questing for 2. We see a grab your sword come down. That'll just be 1 for the Hiram and the Tinkerbell due to Cogsworth resist. But again, it's just going to help the trades if he decides on it. Instead, he's going to quest, really start putting some pressure on. I think that's definitely the right play here from Zan. I think he's going to want to try and close this game out pretty quickly now.
It does feel like we're just maybe a turn or 2 away from Zan taking this. Ryan does not have the hand right now that he needs. We'll see if he can draw something, but let's see what he's got.
Yeah, Lorcana's a little behind here, I think. Zan is on 12, I think.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Well, and he also had the flutes as well.
Flutes as well. So we might even be on 14.
He might be on 14. Yeah. He might have the win on board unless Ryan can find the answer here. That Cinderella really, really made a big difference here. You could tell
huge body, things. That's very difficult to deal with. And and quest for 3. Just again, all these big steel, end game plays. Just they do everything. They do it all. They quest well. They challenge well.
Yes.
They just tick all the boxes.
Yeah. So they've updated the lore counter. So Zan's at 14 now. Ryan's at 6, and he's got that Mickey and dime and something else I can't quite see in his hand, and he's shaking his head. I think he's.
Yeah. I mean, I really can't think at all here what Ryan can have, but like I said before, these games aren't timed at this point. You should always just play as much as you can, see as much as you can. Dime comes down. I think we're probably just going to quest for 1 to pop the dime just to see something, which is kind of crazy. So the dime does cost 2 to exert. But he's showing his hand and saying, good game. My hand is bricked. You absolutely take that one. So there we go. Zan in 2, a great player. I mean, both really fantastic players there. But Zan absolutely, one of the, real sort of champions of Steel Song, has been playing it for a long time, knows exactly what he's doing with the deck, knows it inside out, knows the moments to play the whole new worlds, knows the moments to start dealing with board control. Just a really fantastic player. Both players there played really well, but yeah, Zan taking the win there, and well deserved.
Absolutely. Great plays by both players. Congratulations to Zan for moving on. And we will go to a break.